So the scientific method is really important in science and in everyday life. We use it all the time. And since we're starting our brand new science class and we're now middle schoolers, we are going to focus a lot on the scientific method and how to be really good scientists. So our scientific method has a special process. It's an order of operations. So we have lots of steps that we have to do, kind of like in math. You've all learned about the order of operations in math, so it's really similar to that. So our first step is to ask a question. Okay, so now I'm going to pass out a couple bags, and I'd like you guys to group up in pairs of twos. Please do not touch the bags yet. Maybe one of those. Okay. So if our scientific method, if the first step is to ask a question, what question do we want to ask about these bags? What's in the bag? Exactly, that's going to be our question today. So what is in that bag? So then, once we ask our question, we do background research or make observations. So our background research, a lot of times there have already been studies done and people have already found out lots of information. So for research on ways to cure cancer, they've done lots and lots of it before. So we want to know what has worked, what hasn't worked, and what hasn't been tested yet. So we do background research. We look at what's already been done so we can know what not to do, what to do, and what things haven't even been thought of yet. If there's no formal experiments done yet, we're going to just make observations. So nobody's done any experiments on our bags yet, right? Right. So we're going to make observations. So right now, I want you to feel the bag and make observations. Don't tell me what you think is in the bag yet. Make observations. So remember our physical properties that we learned about earlier. What are the physical properties of what's in the bag? And please do not open the bag. Just use your fingers and feel around. So what are some of the physical properties? What are some of our observations that you guys have made about what's in your bag?
It's bumpy.
It's bumpy. Okay. What else?
It's not very large.
It's not very large. Okay. Anything else that you noticed?
It's hard.
It's hard. Okay, so it's bumpy, it's not very large, and it's hard. Okay. What were some of the observations you made about the object in your bag?
It's thin and smooth.
Okay.
And
small.
Okay.
And it's rectangular.
Okay.
Shape-wise, yeah.
Okay. Anything else? So now our next step, our third step, is to form a hypothesis. So remember, we decided that a hypothesis is an educated guess. Our educated guess is going to come from the background research we did or the observations we made. So now with your bags, I handed everybody an index card, just like this. I would like you to write, each partner can have one side of the card, so write your hypothesis or your educated guess about what is in the bag on that card, please. And you can continue to feel it or poke at it to decide what it is. All right, are you girls finished? Okay, so we guessed candy or a necklace, okay? How about over here? What did we? Playing cards and a subway map. Okay, great. So now our next step is to design and conduct an experiment. So this is always the fun part of science. You get to test things. You get to make these experiments up. So if we think that we have candy, how might you test if it's candy without opening the bag? What could you do with that bag to see if it was candy?
I guess you could sniff it to see if it smells like sugar.
Okay. So do you want to, I'm going to drop things. Want to maybe smell it?
It just smells like a bag.
Okay, but that was still a good test. And how about if it's a necklace? What could you maybe do if it's a necklace?
Maybe shake it to see if I could hold one piece and make another piece go further away.
Try it. Did it work?
Yeah, but I don't think they're connected anymore.
Okay. All right. How would we test the pocket subway map?
I guess to see if it comes apart, if it opens up.
Okay, so maybe, yeah, kind of playing with it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope, it's not moving.
All right, and how about playing cards?
Playing cards. See how bendable that. If you can bend it, but
Okay.
then if they're not, if they're separate, if they come apart.
If they come apart, are they coming apart?
No, they're all staying together.
All right, so our next step then is to analyze the results and draw conclusions. So before we open our bags, which we're going to do in just a second, I want to know if you still think your hypothesis is correct based on your experiments. So do you still think it's a necklace?
Sort of.
Sort of. Okay, so we're not so sure. How about you? Do you think it's candy?
I don't think so.
You don't think so. Okay. Subway map?
Yeah, I'm not so certain anymore.
Okay. And playing cards.
I don't think it's playing cards.
All right, so we're all kind of wondering. So how about we open our bags and see what we have in there?
I was right.
It's my favorite possession right there.
Yeah.
All right, so out of the four of you, we had one correct hypothesis, but that's okay. And our final step is to report our results. So, as you all saw, in science, sometimes our original hypothesis isn't always correct. But that's okay, because that's what makes science progress. That's what makes science keep happening, is because sometimes things don't always work out the way we think they will. So we always, always, always want to report our results, even if they don't support our original hypothesis. Because that way, we can know what doesn't work. So back to our curing cancer example, maybe some medication doesn't work. But for the future, we know that, so we don't keep testing the same medication that we know isn't going to work, right? So we always want to report our results. Now, this is a very cyclical process. We're going to just keep doing this over and over because maybe you get the exact right result and everything in your hypothesis turns out to be correct. So you want to move on and do another experiment. But most of the time, life doesn't work that way in science, and maybe a little bit of your hypothesis is going to be correct, but there is still some parts that aren't correct. Or maybe your experiment brought up even more questions. Why did this happen like this? And sometimes your hypothesis was completely wrong, and you have to go back to the drawing board and do this all over again.